French was the language. When I went to Algeria, I said, hey man, y'all got to teach me your language. They said, he's a revolutionary, learn French. And then the struggle that developed hit the surface by 81, 82, and 83. If you look at the pictures of all those guys, they were Egyptians. Why? Because Nasser and all of them was expelling Ikhwanis in the 1950s and in the 60s. Algeria had been under France so long, it spoke a disjointed Arabic. They had to import, they I was in Algeria, and sure, you would get along better if you just spoke French, right? And they would tell you, and the people would show you, I was in France last year, see how, and they would be proud of that. Although they had fought the French colonialists, they still had a mental colonialism, right? And they told me, learn French. But the Islamic movement caught hold, and the Muslim Brotherhood that was under pressure in Egypt, they needed teachers, so they took them to Algeria and taught them good Arabic. And along with that, the Islamic movement of the early 80s came right out of there. Yeah, I'm just telling you. Us right here, who cares about this little dumb stuff boss man do? Okay, and then ask yourself, who's in better shape, us or boss man? Right? Boss man's in bad shape. That boy, I don't know how he look in the mirror every day. He's a laughing stock. People be saying, oh no, did he do that? Right? Tell the truth. On the news every day. We don't understand what's happened to America. What's happened to America? Now we're going to claim some of the stuff. Now remember we said a long time ago that we was going to accept some of the, it just make boss man mad if we accept some of the credit for what's happening to him. How do we know? We may really be we're doing something, right? Discombobulated? He is acting discombobulated, right? Whatever that means, that's what he's do. That's what he do all day, every day. He don't do nothing combobulated. It always discombobulated, right? Right? Tell the truth. He don't do nothing right no more. So, I mean, he can just be sitting there and supposed to eat a little food, and he don't do that. He stick the fork all in himself and stuff right now in front of everybody's. What's happened to boss man? He's supposed to eat some pie. There's a pie. It ain't been touched. He got fork sticking all out of his head, ears, right? That's his behavior. Now, what do you think? You think they're going to do something else? Absolutely not. They paranoid. We got boss man. We didn't scare him to death because we didn't claim, told you, boss man, that's what's going to happen to you. And that's what, he don't know whether we're doing it or not. We say, yeah, boss man, you keep on messing with me. You got 2 more weeks, and see what's happening. And then something happened to him in 2 weeks. He got dug at that nigga. And then he be wanting to, but not, scared. Do you think that we're just sitting around here? No, I'm telling you. Boss man is psychoparalysis is what we call it. Psychoparalysis. That means he's paralyzed mentally. And we claim credit for it. So what? That's just the way it is. Psychoparalysis. Last thing, Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. Well, say, wait on, they just made that up. Well, it's working. Islamic Institute for Counter-Zionist American Psychological Warfare. That means Negroes that don't have nothing in their hand is running boss man crazy. And you don't know. Maybe the nigga's right. One thing about it, he paranoid. Because see, when you get to predicting everything and you get down to your little predicting Ouija board out, you say, yeah, boss man gonna have a flat tire in an hour, and he have a flat tire. Bam! Oh, good God Almighty. First, that nigga don't that. All boss man gonna, airplane gonna crash, glider gonna crash in the water, 5 of them gonna drown. Then 6 people drown, and the thing, and he gets paranoid. He gets paranoid, and then you tell him, put your hands on me again, boss man, see what happens. Boy, look here. Right? That's what we do. And we don't get tired or or nothing like that. We just sell wolf tickets. And guess what? Something is going on because they all coming out. So he said, nigga got the gift of prophecy. Christians will say that in a hurry. If you predict 3 or 4 things, and I'll close with this, the preacher from St. James Missionary Baptist Church, when I was at Lung Park prison camp out there, I was the Imam in the little joint, and we had a program for Martin Luther King. And when I spoke about Joseph. And the Bible in Genesis 37, it talk about, and they saw the dreamer from afar off. And they said, let us go kill the dreamer. You know what I mean? And so I'm giving that lecture to St. James Missionary Baptist Church. And the preacher, when he came up, he said, I don't know who's giving that to Imam Musa, but that Joseph was a predecessor for our Lord Jesus Christ. I was saying that the dream, Martin Luther King, right? The dreamer. So you just figure out who's the dreamer, and right? And so then, they think, they said, that boy got the gift of prophecy. I said, hey man, y'all mind your own business. You ain't getting me killed, fried or boiled in oil. You know what I mean? But see, anybody that do something like that, they say, he got the gift of prophecy. That means you can predict a few things, you know what I mean? Or you write 1 out of 200, 1 out of 100 times, you know what I mean? That means you got the gift of prophecy. Prophecy to them is not getting something in words, just predicting a few things. So, you got the gift of prophecy. I say, hey man, y'all keep that to yourself. You don't know what you're saying. And I know if I want to boil, I just boil myself. I don't need y'all to help. Anyway, dear believers, our mission is, we're going into another stage. We're into another stage already. Everything we've done, there's continuity in it. So just remember, anything that you see or hear is part of a long trail. It's not that isolated incident. So have patience and perseverance, because see, that's why we wait on boss man a lot. They do something, we don't just jump up and start reacting. We just, and then the hadith is on our side. And it talks about patience. It talks about, the Quran talks about constancy. And it also talks about the ability to, we always say 95% of ability is stickability. And then contentment. And I'll close with that because if you have contentment with whatever it is that you're doing, everything else is covered. And I'm not saying that's where it's coming from, but so far so good. Are there any questions or comments? I didn't want to. Yeah. Huh?
You said we're in a war right now, so what's the war? Who are we going against?
No, the struggle, this is a war. It's a war between, right now, it's a war between the same one been going on, between good and evil.
Right.
Okay? And that war is, and we consider ourselves on the good team. And we consider all of our allies, the people that are maligned and seem isolated, they're the ones making progress, although it's costing them big. So I'm just saying to the brothers, if something is costing us big, it just appears that it's costing us. Because we're on the good foot. If it's the people of Lebanon, they're shooting them down. They just, right? But they're holding on. They ain't making it. You see their leaders, they just hold it, take it easy. The people in Afghanistan, 2 Masjid, one this week, one last week, and tons of times. Everybody holding on. They're not going to get drawn into. In other words, our discussion today is you control your own motions. You don't let people pull you into or get you into a fight that they want you to fight, because they're going to sell weapons to both sides. Whoever boss man gets you fighting, he going to sell him weapons and he going to sell you weapons till y'all kill each other off. And he's going to go down to the strawberry house and get a strawberry shake or sundae and just stick his feet up and take it easy while you brutalize each other, while you use up all your time, all your resources, and you lose all your focus, right? So that's basically what we've been talking about today, is keeping our focus. And as far as being in a war, we're always in a war. We call it the battle space. Some people call it the battlefield. You're always on the battlefield. You're always in the battle space because Shaitan is always there, and he's always going to do his job. Shaitan is always the bad guy. You don't have to look for who's causing the trouble, right? That's who it is. They now push the idea that the devil, the Shaitan, is a myth. That don't really exist. They call it internal impulses and all kind of scientific names, but it's the devil, right? That's who it is. Okay, we got his whole card. And then the last thing, once the Prophet ﷺ went out to the graveyard to pray for the martyrs, then his wife Aisha radiallahu anha followed him because she thought maybe he's going to another wife's house or something like that. So he picked up on it, and she ran back to the house, and she asked, "O Rasulullah, why did I do that?" She said, "The devil, the shaitan." She said, "Even I have a shaitan? You know, I'm the wife of the Prophet, peace be upon him." Said, "Yes." He said, "Even thou, O Rasulullah?" He said, "Yes." But Allah have allowed me to conquer that shaitan. He don't suggest nothing but good to me. See, that's the hope. Look, stick to that. That is a real hadith. It's in Sahih Muslim. That's not some Ibn Majah or somebody. That's Sahih Muslim. It is 98% as effective, as close. If Sahih Bukhari, if the sayings are 100, Sahih Muslim, right, is 98. That's how bad it is. It's serious. Right? It's serious. That's okay. In our hadith, don't forget, is stronger than anything you can read in the Bible or anywhere. The hadith. Because it'll say somewhere, and Jesus said. You ever, in the